Good morning. Welcome to this morning's Wuxing Long Pai Taijiquan class. My name is Jeff Cote. I am the Occidental Taoist. Hopefully this is going to work okay in terms of audio. I'm not much further than I am in the house. There's a little bit of ambient road noise, but it seems to work better with just the mic from the device rather than my headphone mic. So we're going to try it out, see how it goes. I'll check it out after this one. If it doesn't work, we won't do this one on Thursday again. We'll just go back to indoors and try to break up the form in pieces instead of doing the long form through. But since it's been a while since we've done the first part, we've been really working on that swimming dragon section. I wanted to go back and do the whole thing all the way through, since we kind of got finished with that sequence, doing the right and the left side of the swimming dragon section. So now we'll put it all together with the mirror, the long mirror, the transitional, and the swimming dragon section all coming together. And you'll see. If you've not joined us for this whole sequence before, you just follow along as best you can when we get to it. We spend a good amount of time on warm up and qigong and all that as well, because that's the health maintenance stuff that's so valuable. Tai Chi takes a lifetime to learn anyway, so there's no rush. Try to force yourself to learn it quickly. All right, so let's start off feet roughly shoulder width and parallel. Get a good central equilibrium. Feel the triangles of your feet. Reach out, spread your feet out as though spreading your toes out, and then let that natural plasticity just kind of naturally grip the ground. Feel where your weight goes down into and through the ankle, and how you can play with weight between the ball of the foot and the heel. Moving the whole of the body, just feeling that, noticing the power of the activation of the lower part of the body. Left and right, same way, rotating out and in. Pressing the instep versus the outer part of the foot. Just kind of getting familiar with all the different ways that you can activate just from the ground up before we even start. Then pay attention to the bend in the knees and the hips. Anytime you bend your knees, you want your hips to bend and fold too. Opening the quad and letting those ball and socket joints just move freely. Notice any holding around the ball and socket joint. We want to release from the center of the ball and socket joint outward in every direction, so there can be a really good transmission of weight straight down. Relax the low back. Open up the Ming Men. Gently extend the tailbone down as though a light weight were hanging from the tailbone, and it were just drawing the spine open and long. Open up the back of the neck with an ever so slight tuck to the chin. I wouldn't even call it a tuck, just a drop. So you're not lifting up and back, which happens a lot when people start turning their eyes inward. Okay, so we want that ever so slight down with the back of the neck open and the Bai point gently extended up as the tailbone draws down. Feel where the pelvic floor is, the perineum, and notice its alignment. Align it through the middle of the lower dantian, through the middle of the middle dantian, through the middle of the upper dantian, all the way to that Bai point. Then hollow the center as though you're opening up from the inside out. Of course, just before I started, they didn't have any of those power tools going. Now all of a sudden they do. So relax. Let the weight of the hips and legs pull the spine open. And with the legs, just softly catch the upper body. So there's a buoyancy. Notice how much force you're using to hold yourself off of the ground and soften that. Play around with letting go and letting it drop, finding that sweet spot between doing and non-doing. Place the tongue lightly on the roof of the mouth, rolling it back towards the hard palate. Open up the epiglottis, relax the throat, and begin to work with your breathing down here into the lower dantian. Hands out in front of the lower dantian. And we're going for a feeling of an expanding sphere. So as you inhale, imagine your center expands, and we're just moving with that, the timing of it. The whole mental construct is to learn how to time everything together so that the whole body learns to work together. On the exhale, release and return towards the center. Let your awareness, your feeling awareness, your mental focus and attention all come together towards that center. Notice how all the folds happen as you sink and condense. Align them so everything is smooth and easy. The weight stays consistently going straight down. Notice any holding and activity that comes out of this, and try to surrender it into the feeling of the flow from the center and the whole body working together. Go at your own breathing pace. Don't try to match mine. One more. Pause. Inhale, gathering, and everything will compress and condense towards the center. You'll sink into the ground, feel the earth, that yin quality of the earth drawing in as you draw in. Exhale. And release and flow out. Like your whole body is breathing towards your center. And from the center out. One more. And then bounce. and counter swing. Always I'm paying attention to these right and left channels and the central channel and my rootedness and the free interchange internally between all of it. Interchange of my intention flowing out from my center to create action, including the expansion and then release and the active connection with gravity and lending the force of my being to this downward flow and return towards the center. And then I let the natural action of the twist happen. I want to feel that twist from the foot all the way up through this whole part of the torso, through the arm and shoulder to the hand. Same thing here. I want to feel that twist, and I want to feel the stability of the hips and the freedom of the upper torso between them. So that as I twist, these right and left channels also twist around my center line, back and forth. Boom, boom, as I turn, but they're always rooted through here. Pelvic floor, always powerfully connected to the yin of the earth. Letting the yang flow. Lending just the tiniest little bit of force behind it. But from the center out. Now, sometimes I'll turn with the palms down and really focus on the twist of the whole channel on each side. Sometimes I'll pay attention to one side, then the other, then I'll pay attention to them together. And I'm just trying to coordinate everything. Noticing where I'm holding and where I'm not. What I'm going to ground my energy and intention to, which is firm, deep rooted connection to the ground, but soft and changeable. Japanese have this term, immovable mind. Is what it translates to. I can't remember the original. It's a long time since I've heard that term in Japanese. But we want this deep inner stillness that's rooted to the underlying energy. And column swing. As I go through these, as you've noticed, I'm always doing different stuff. Sometimes I'm focusing on that twisting of the right and left, creating that upward movement and how I can relax and still drain the tension away. That way, if I were to contact anything, the weight would be held by the draining and the action of the yang could still move. So it's both receptive in the sense that I imagine that there's weight and resistance here, but I'm receiving that through me into the ground, and expansive or active, that there's a motion and energy flowing from my center out. These teach some very fundamental elements of how we move and how we direct action and intent in the Tai Chi set. And then sometimes I'm focused on that receive and pull down, really trying to perfect how the right and left channels can operate, work together, along with the central channel. Meaning my intentions of how I hold the body and what I hold firm to and what I allow to change. When I say hold firm, I mean a lot of it has to do with the mental state of connection. That's the thing I'm holding most firmly to. I'm connected from fingertips to the ground, and what I'm keeping my awareness on. That's the kind of firmness that I'm creating, is the whole, and my intention to allow it to change and borrow the force of gravity, but also borrow the momentum and power of the energy of my action, which is that up and down. Unifying all of them. Try different hand positions. Always, when I go up, there's a receptivity and an outreaching. When I'm going down, surrendering everything into the down while I maintain the central up. Centralized, centralized. Zhongding. I feel the space in the joints, particularly the shoulders, but I try to get the spine and everything too. But as I come up, I let everything flow out and extend and expand. Then with that, I outreach and lightly grip and draw everything back down right through me. And I'm going to notice how this press and that right and left rotation can create a push and a pull, almost like an out and an in, trying to work everything together. Always, whatever energy is interacting here is counterbalanced by the Ming Men. I've got to have it be dynamic, both in intention, but also most importantly in relation. It's always got to be relating back here with what's going on in here and up front. That way, I maintain sphericity, that sense of whole and total. Then I can focus on using the movement to open up the ability to rotate a little more. Then I'm kind of let them be a little rag doll. So any holding that has resulted out of the intention that I've created, I can make sure I let it go completely. And counter column swing. Hopefully you can begin to see why I will oftentimes spend so much time on these practices here at the beginning, because they can teach so much about the possibilities of motion and how we can marry our intent to the forces that are already present naturally that surround us. Gravity, laws of physics, like momentum, right? The shape of the body and the movement itself and its feel as it moves through space, and the shape of your intent, so that there's a form that you create by your intention, right? And we want to feel that. That's what all of these beginning practices teach. They are so important to this style, this way of approach, this formless dragon system. And relax. From this, we're going to go right into Dragon Rolls of Pearl, just briefly, and finish our warm up, finish our body loosening component, and then we'll go right into the long frame. So I want you to feel your center line in the center, the right and left channels, and their relationship to each other. What you're going to do is receive into one side, expand straight down through the other, and get that shift. You want to get 60-40 or so, 60% one side, 40% the other. Learn how to press straight down and receive straight up. Start with that, and then we're going to go the opposite way. Then we're going to receive this side and press this side. This is the fundamental action of Dragon Rolls of Pearl. We have to get this right before we can get anything right. Learn how to conjoin these practices. And it shouldn't feel like you're just pushing with the leg. It should feel like this whole side is extending down. This whole side is receiving up. Meanwhile, the center and the entire sphere of your intent is intact and consistent. Let yourself have a little bit of rotation right at the end. Feel that, how you can extend, but make sure the knee stays in the center of the triangle of the foot. The hip is open and relaxed. That quad is released so that that hip can rotate open, while this one can rotate inward and closed. Feeling that receptivity and inward rotation and the expansion and outward rotation. Yang and yin and yang in action. Yet the tailbone is still straight down. Then feel that receive. Suddenly let go of the extension here. Notice that there's a pull. Play with that. Learn to join this press to that pull so that it's all one. We're just going to get that back and forth first. It's like going back to the beginning, which is appropriate since we got to what appears to be an ending. Notice how this weight shift and waist turn moves through and around the ball and socket joint of the hip. Notice how your activation of tissue as you create this intention, this press, you can feel all of this activate. It doesn't have to tighten or harden, but you can feel it activate, especially as you maintain that upright intention. Notice where habit tends to pull you. Perhaps you get pulled into a habit of being on the outside of your foot. Perhaps you get pulled into a habit of being more towards the heel. Perhaps you get pulled into a habit of being more in the ball of the foot. Everybody has habits of motion. Learn to see yours and deconstruct them so that they no longer become habits, but become choices. And that those choices become guided by a set of principles that you learn to align with so well that eventually you don't have to make the choice. It's the only rational action to take. One of the things I had read, I don't even remember where I read it, The true master doesn't have more options. The true master discovers the one motion, the one action that is the most appropriate, that is the best, most perfected expression of the clarity of their intention. Then we're going to take one hand. All we're going to do is it's going to make a vertical circle with the palm always facing the center of the circle that it's making. And you really kind of, you think of it like there's half a sphere here, and you're going to try to roll around that half of the sphere the whole time, never letting anything tighten up. If something tightens up, notice what it is, try to relax it. Imagine if you have to, you can hang your arm on that sphere. That way you can relax your shoulder. At the same time, we want to eventually not just let go and be flaccid somewhere, but be active. But we got to learn how to relax it first. So if there's some excitement. One of the things Dr. Pa used to say to me was that if you couldn't meditate in a train station, then you couldn't meditate. And that's an interesting dichotomy, because he also said just the act of attempting was meditation, and that was good enough. So this speaks to more about willingness to let things be what they are. Yep, a lot of noises and distractions around you in this world. Learning how to keep your attention and focus where you want it when that happens, that's worth its weight in gold. And the other hand. Secret I use to that with the distraction is I don't fight with them. It's like, oh, okay, yep, that's going on. And as soon as I acknowledge that's going on, I bring my attention right back to where I want it. Eventually, a smaller part of you will pay attention to that. You'll always walk into, or at least gather your awareness on where you want your awareness to be, yet not ignore anything else around you. Very important state of mind state, very valuable mind state. I consider every practice to be a movement towards where I want to go. I'm not worried about how fast I get there or if I get there today. I'm just each single repetition is just me focused on moving towards where I want to go. Meaning, in terms of quality of awareness, motion, energy, intent, action, result, flow, wholeness. Got both hands going now. If you notice something off, like I can get to focus kind of very mind focused on that sort of center of the circle of my motion, as well as the feel of everything, which for me makes my head tend to go down and forward a little bit. That's not good, right? Because I'm always wanting to keep that zhong ding. So I stop, I reset. As soon as I notice it, and of course, when my arms are this big and I'm kind of considering the bigger sphere of my center to this dynamic, spherical dynamic, it starts to become dragon plays in clouds instead of dragon rolls of pearls when it's here. And I always start with that, but I always try to finish with dragon plays in clouds, because now I'm dealing with the sphere from inside to out instead of just this dynamic enclosed energy. Remember, this whole thing is beginning with this press and receive. And relax. Hands, wrists, and fingers. Other way. Elbows. Other way. Shoulders. Other way. Patting the shoulders. Trunk twists from the center. Patting the bottom. Chest, down the center line, lower down chin, waist and hips. Waist rotations, getting that pelvic bowl to just move horizontally parallel to the ground. Try to relax the waist, relax the low back, circle the diamond. That's that girdling motion. And go the other way. And bring your awareness from your waist down to the ball and socket joints of the hips. Open up the feet, widen them, sink, pull that ball and socket joint open on one side, and small circles. all the while maintaining my awareness of attention, energy, and intention from my center all the way through the triangle of the foot. Same thing on this side. How am I managing that? Am I kicking my hip up and out? What am I doing? I'm always trying to work with my posture. And the other way. And the other side. Other way. Always trying to get that gentle press down, gentle pull open while moving it. Just training myself to get space in it. Eventually, I'll learn how to do less and less and have it just open up by intention as things activate and become more free. And it just keeps moving in that direction more and more. Now I can play around with the center and my relationship to the ground through the feet a lot more dynamically. Back and forth. And shaking it out. Patting the legs. Rubbing the knee. And bring the feet together. Small circles with the knees, keeping the feet flat on the ground. And the other way. And deep bends. Yeah. Ankle and hip. Other way. Foot and ankle. Other way. Brushing the grass. Other way. Behind. Other way. And shake it out. Other side. Other way. Foot and ankle. Other way. Brushing the grass. Other way. Behind. Other way. Shake it out. You're right into the hamstrings. Press the knees back, lift the sacrum, flatten the back, fold at the waist. Notice where tension begins. Keep working at making everything long. Don't be in a rush. Just keep everything long and keep intending and extending down. Turn towards one side. And the other side. Reach. Reach for that. Move through, nice and slow. Keep dragging, circle the pond. Pay attention to your weight. Elongating through both sides. Center. Squat stance. Hands down, inguinal stretch. Just let your weight lean in a little bit and open up those hips. Back and forth just a little. Doesn't matter how low you are. If you can't get all the way down here, you do this. Just open up those hips, leaning to one side, opening that, the other side. Back up on the heels. Press up into the low back and roll the spine up from bottom to top. Just a short little dragon spine. Do the dragon coiling one time, just in, dragon spine up, hands come back, spine in and the front. And the other way. Lord shakes his mane. All right, let's do the entire Wuxing Long Pai Taijiquan long form. All right, so I had a request from somebody to turn the other way, but I think for these parts where I'm leading through, for most people, it's really much more advantageous to learn to get the body weight and the weight shift and the whole movement of the sphere. If you just imagined any arm movements that I do just being an expression of my center, outreaching in some way to this sphere, either it's shrinking and expanding or rotating. If that's the way you kind of observe with your soft focus, you'll have the centralized energy. The specific details of the hand movements and their exact positions come last, not first. People are always telling me, well, I don't know where to put my hands. You know what? Learn where to put your weight. If your weight is all off, doesn't matter where you put your hands. It really doesn't, because you're not doing it anyways. Tai Chi comes from the ground up. So get that, and from the inside out. So start with that. Learn to get the center. Where is your center line in relationship to your feet? Is it like mine? Is its orientation of rotation like mine? That's the first component. Are the arms expressing the general sphere motion and action? Can you maintain that sense of sphericity, that Hong energy, that outward expansion constantly? You might draw it back in one area and fill it more in another. But without that Pung, this is empty. There's nothing there. No chi. Just floppy arms. Okay? So you've got to get that component. All right, so start with that. So we're going to start feet together. Sleeping Dragon awakens to find the root. Guide your beginning. Left and left. Right. Low back. And press. Mortal pound to mortar. With left. Open right. Cross the hands. the right. Squeeze and press. Push. Dragon, seal the gate. Rolling curl. Crane spill. Hook. Bump. Single whip. Touch. Pull down. Left, right. Press. Step. And turn on the heel. Mortal pounds the mortar. Split. Open. And withdraw. Step back to the right. And white crane fends off snake. Play the loop. Windmill the arms to brush past the knee. Buck. Play the loop. Outreach. Neutralize. Press. Outreach. Neutralize. And press. Mill the arms to brush past the knee. Buck. Play the loop. Outreach. Neutralize. Press. Catch and pull down. Press out. Circling palms, right hand first. And punch. Times the mortar. Taiji beginning. Now, it's really called Taiji reverse here, but it's the same as Taiji beginning. Reflecting right, left. Roll back. Expand. Press. Mortar pounds the mortar, left hand. Split right. And open left. Cross the hands. And look to the left. Squeeze and press. Push. The dragon seal the gate. pull. And crane still. Bump. Single whip. Catch and pull down. Left, left. Press. Step. Turn on the heat. Mortar pounds the mortar. Split right. And open left. Draw. Step back to the left. And white crane fends off snake. Play the loop. Windmill the arms. Left past the knee. Pluck and play the loop. Outreach. Neutralize. And press. Outreach. Neutralize. And press. Windmill the arms. And brush the knee. Pluck. And play the loop. Outreach. Neutralize. And press. Catch and pull down. Press out. Circling palms, left hand first. And punch. Mortar pounds the mortar. Press. Circling palms to the left. Shoulder stroke. Long uppercut punch. Squeeze right and press. Roll down. Punch. Fletching left and right. Long sweeping cut. Press. Right fist under left palm. Step back. Pulse monkey. Set the shuttle. Drops the hand. Dragon stretches his wings. Dragon lashes its tail. Power to the immortal. White ape presents the fruit. White crane kicks with one leg. Butterfly touches the water. Green dragon stirs the waves. Elbowing left and right. Split and grasp the arm. Turn and look back at the moon. Fair lady threads the shuttle. And passing cloud. Long uppercut and hammer fist. Dragon sweeps the sky. Double uppercut. Double elbow. Split and grasp the arm. Turn and look back at the moon. Two dragons passive. White ape presents the fruit. White crane kicks with one leg. Butterfly touches the water. Green dragon stirs the waves. Elbowing right and left. Split and grasp the arms. Turn and look back at the moon. Fair lady threads the shuttle. And passing cloud. Hammer fist. Not sure how I got there. Double uppercut. Double elbow. Get the moves right. Name's a little bit backwards. Split. And grasp the arm. Turn and look back at the moon. Two dragons pass. And close. All right. So that's the whole sequence. Sorry, at the very end on that left side there, I got a couple of, I'm going to get in the sun so you can see me. I got a couple of those names off because I was focused on the moves and wasn't thinking about the words coming out of my mouth. So, but that's the sequence. And, you know, you'll notice the more you do this, the more you start to feel like the whole of the body starts to work inward while your intention moves from the inside out. And it feels like the yang energy of your doings with your whole body help to shape and contain this yin inherent energy that is the basis of the stable, strong energy that comes from Wu Ji, manifests first in the dynamic of yin and yang. And so we match the yin and yang. All right. Hopefully you start getting a sense of that. If not, more repetition of individual action lets you get to the heart of that action. The more you try to create more variation, the more you get lost in the distractions of the variation, right? Which is why I spend so much time doing things like the counter swing series or basic dragon rolling pearl exercise or dragon blazing clouds. Simple movements like that, working with just the legs like we did at the beginning. All of that is very valuable. All right. Thank you for joining me. May you have a wonderful day, many blessings of radiant health, and a peaceful, happy heart. Sure.